Good evening. It is 7:02, and we will call this meeting of the Board of Selectmen to order. All members of the Board of Selectmen are present and newly sworn in, so we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. If everyone would please rise. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So tonight's meeting is a special meeting, which means we cannot alter the agenda. So item number 4, added agenda items, is going to be skipped. The next order of business would be review and approval of the special meeting minutes of October 10th, 2019. While no member of the board was seated at that meeting, with the exception of myself, I think most of us were there, and we can still approve those meeting minutes.
I'll move to approve the special meeting minutes of October 10th, 2019.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve the minutes as presented. Any discussion or corrections?
I'd just like to bring up, Mr. Hoffman had mentioned in that meeting about the local, what was it called? Registered local government. Anyway, the program that he had talked about for historical preservation and whatnot, and he offered to bring all that information and visit us. I thought we should extend that invite and keep that going. It might be something interesting.
Okay. Any corrections or any corrections to the minutes as presented? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It was Marie. Peg, I'll list off the motion in a second for convenience. So once again, I'm sorry, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered. Next, regular meeting minutes of October 17th.
Make a motion to accept the regular meeting minutes of October 17, 2019 as presented.
Second.
Motion made by Marie, seconded by Sarah to accept the meeting minutes as presented. Any corrections? Seeing none, all those in favor please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Meeting minutes are adopted. I don't have any communications at this point. Is there any public participation? Please start by saying your name for the record, and then we'll go from there. Mr.
Kathy Bilodeau, 343 Scannick. I just want to say, I'm sure most of us are going to say almost the same thing if they are, but congratulations. I think I'm definitely very excited to see the mix of the people that are on this board, the end of the lack of communication. I think you're going to be very productive. I'm really looking forward to see what you're going to do. I think that you're all going to be able to make some incredible changes for our towns and move it in the direction that it needs to go. So I just wanted once again to say congratulations.
Mr. Anderson.
Paul Anderson, 89 Main Street, Broadbrook. Today is actually a very historic day. On this date in 1895, the pencil was invented. And on this day in 2019, we have a new Board of Selectmen. Thank you.
Mr. Heath.
Andy Heath, 15 Steeplechase Road. I want to echo the congratulations to the entire board. It was a good, upbeat, and positive campaign, and I appreciate that tremendously. I just want to add that I hope one of your highest priorities in hopefully the next 6 to 8 to 12 months is the fire district issue and the fire department issue and all that kind of stuff, because I think that really needs to get resolved and resolved as expeditiously as possible. Thanks.
Is there anyone else?
Bob Light, 80 Rye Street. I want to echo the thoughts of the previous and the present Lieutenant Governor in that tonight the politics stopped. I was able to, because of my extreme attention to Veterans Affairs Committees and work on economic development, stay out of political raw. Tonight to show that I have taken sides in the past, and tonight to show the necessity for us to have a complement on our Economic Development Commission, I'm going to ask that you appoint both Bob Maynard and Jimbo Richards to that, and then we'll still have a slot open for an alternate. Thank you.
Any other public comment? Okay. The next item of business is boards and commissions resignations. Typically, it's custom for this board to accept resignations with regret, but I don't think we have to in this case. So with that said, a motion would be in order to accept the resignation of Sarah Muska from the Board of Finance.
I'll motion to accept the resignation of Sarah Muska from Board of Finance.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved by Mr. Nordell, seconded by Mr. Baker. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. New appointments. We have two. One is for a term expiring January 1st, 2022. The other is for a term expiring January 1st, 2020. That is Mr. Maynard and Mr. Richards, respectfully. So a motion would be in order for those.
I'll motion to appoint Robert Maynard to Economic Development Commission for a term expiring January 1st, 2022.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Mr. Nordell, second by Ms. Muska. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. So ordered.
I'll move that we approve James Richards to the Economic Development Commission to a term expiring January 1st, 2020.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Ms. Muska, second by Mr. Baker, to appoint Jim Richards to the Economic Development Commission for a term expiring January 1, 2020. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Okay, so now we're on to new business. The authorizing resolution of the Board of Selectmen. Here's what this is in here for. At the annual town meeting, it is the first selectman and the town treasurer are authorized to take certain actions on behalf of the town. This is really here as a matter of caution, because I was not first selectman when this was adopted at the last annual town meeting. And while we'll have to do this again, I think by the end of the calendar year, just to make sure that we're covered going forward until the next time that is done, I thought it'd be important to just make sure that our bases are covered. So I've included the authorization language in the packet. If somebody could move that, then we'll have any discussion or ask for a vote.
Make a motion to authorize the language set forth in the adoption of rules of procedure for the Department of the First Selectman and Town Treasurer to borrow time to time on behalf and in the name of the town for the purpose of the meeting, current expenses until the tax monies are available, and to issue notes for same and to determine the amount of such notes and to execute, sell, and deliver the same.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made by Ms. D'Souza, seconded by Mr. Nordell. Any questions or discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? So carried. The charter dictates that we're supposed to adopt rules of procedure. Those most typically are Robert's Rules of Order. I think those have worked well, and I think that we certainly can adhere to those. There are other rules of procedure, but most people aren't as familiar with them. Mason's Rules of Order comes to mind. I would prefer that we stick with Robert's Rules. They're just the most commonly used and most familiar to the members of the public. So Is there any discussion or motion?
Make a motion that we accept the rules,
Robert's Rule of Order.
rules of order. Thank you.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor of Robert's Rules as our rules of procedure, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no? Okay. Appointment of a deputy first selectman. Are there any nominations?
I nominate Ray Susan.
Are there any other nominations?
I nominate Sarah Musco.
Any other nominations? Okay. So what we need to do here is, well, we should close nominations, I suppose, but
I move that we close nominations.
Second.
all in favor of closing nominations, say aye.
Aye.
All in favor of Marie D'Souza as deputy first selectman, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All in favor of Sarah Muska as deputy first selectman, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries, and Marie D'Souza will be our deputy first selectman.
Thank you.
We need to establish the dates and times of our meetings for the next calendar year anyway, so calendar year 2020. Really, we'd be well served to set them for the term. I canceled our regular meeting on this coming Thursday because of the swearing in tonight, and I didn't think it necessary to bring people out 2 nights in a week with not a lot of business yet to do. However, I think the practice to move meeting nights from historically Tuesdays to Thursdays works well for town staff because they're here until 7 o'clock anyway. So rather than paying town staff to either come back or wait around, it is a more seamless continuation should we need them to appear at a selectmen's meeting. So my preference would be that they remain on Thursday nights. However, if that doesn't work for the members of the board, we can certainly accommodate based on what the schedules of you folks would be.
I'm fine with that. First and third.
7 o'clock is a good time? No earlier, no later? So then a motion would be in order to fix the dates and times of our meetings as the first and third Thursdays at 7 o'clock.
Make a motion, we set our our meeting dates on the first and third Thursday of every month at 7 p.m.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Baker, seconded by Mr. Nordell. Is there any discussion? All those in favor of the dates and times, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay, great. Now, so the next item, 9E, is a pro forma thing that we need to do to, according to the general statutes, to appoint a new assistant town clerk and an assistant officer of vital statistics. So a motion would be in order to appoint Larissa, I think it's Hickey, as the assistant town clerk and assistant registrar of vital statistics.
I'll make that motion.
Motion made by Mrs. D'Souza. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right. Okay. In your packet, there is a rather small Excel spreadsheet that has each board and commission, their respective chairman, their memberships, their meeting dates and times, and where available, their locations. I thought, since we're so new, it would be good to assign liaisons at this meeting so that you guys had something to start working on in the coming weeks instead of having a relatively light agenda going prospectively. If you could make contact with the boards and commissions that you'll liaise, I think that might be a good way of generating some work orders for us as a board. So we can do this a couple of ways. If there's anything anybody particularly has an interest in, we can certainly consider that. Yes, ma'am.
I would like to be the liaison for Park Hill, the Housing Authority, since I resigned as of 5:59 tonight. I'd like to be the liaison for that, and also for the Economic Development Commission.
So let's take those one at a time. Does anyone have a problem with Marie serving as the liaison for the Housing Authority? Okay, so you're going to be our Housing Authority person. And you also had wanted to do Economic Development Commission. Is there other interest in the EDC? Okay, so that'll be Marie too.
Mr. Chairman, if I could just give you a point of interest, Peg can tell you we changed our meeting dates last night.
Oh, that would be new information. Because I did this on Saturday, so. Which board are you talking about?
EDC.
Third Tuesday.
Pardon me?
Changed to third Tuesday, correct?
Does that still work for you?
First Tuesday.
First
Tuesday.
First Tuesday.
First Tuesday.
First Tuesday's.
It was third Monday,
And 6.
and it's at 6.
Thursday at 6. And where do you hold it? Where do you hold it here?
Here,
Okay.
providing there aren't conflicts.
Are there any other boards or commissions that a particular selectman would like to liaise?
Yes.
Charlie?
I'm going to take Broadbrook Fire if I could.
So if you're going to take Broadbrook Fire, could I also suggest that you do Warehouse Point as well?
Yes.
Like inland wetlands and planning and zoning, that's possible.
Okay, we'll come to that in just one second. Does anybody else want a piece of the fire departments? This was a 4-word choice. Okay, so.
I would like to take it, I attend their meetings regularly, Warehouse Point, so.
So there's 3 of you guys that are interested in doing the Warehouse Point Fire Department. So can you guys work it out, or are we going to vote?
Yeah, Sarah's been going, I'll respect that.
And I'm on the board.
Continue it, and he's on the board, so.
Okay,
Can you be the liaison even though he's on the board?
I don't believe there's a prohibition
Okay.
on that one. For Board of
Yeah,
Finance, there is.
sure.
So Sarah will do Warehouse Point. Charlie, you still want to do Broadbrook?
Mm-hmm.
All right. I'm sorry, Alan, you had a couple that you were interested in.
Wetlands and planning and zoning, if nobody has an objection.
Any objection to Alan doing Wetlands and Planning and Zoning?
And I'd also like pension, if that's okay.
So we're gonna park that for a second, because that's different from most of these. We have an appointed position for a selectman member on the pension board. In the past, we've had an appointed person and a liaison. The liaison never went, but I served in that capacity as the appointed person. I'm no longer able to. I'm advisory to that now, so why don't we actually have a vote on that one to solidify an appointment. If there's no other interest in the pension board, I would entertain a motion to appoint Alan as the Board of Selectmen's representative on the pension board.
I'll second it.
Well, I didn't make the motion.
Oh, you're looking for the motion.
I'm looking.
I make a motion that we, Alan Baker serves on the Pension and Retirement Board.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Any discussion? Any other interests? All in favor of Alan on the pension board, please say aye.
Aye. I'd like to do Board of Education and Board of Finance.
Any objections? You sure?
Nope.
Okay. Anybody else have anything that catches their fancy? Otherwise, we'll just start going down the list and filling the
Police
vacancies.
Commission?
You want to do the police commission?
Mm-hmm.
I'll take Park and Rec.
So, all right, hold on one second. So Charlie is going to do the police commission. Any objections? No? Marie would like to do Parks and Rec. Any objections?
None?
This is going very well, guys.
I'll do CIP.
That one might be, can we park that until I actually look into what the ordinance is on that one?
Yep.
I'll make a note that you're interested, but I got to read that one.
Okay.
I guess I could continue with the land use stuff and do ag and conservation.
Perfect.
If nobody has any issue.
Others?
I'll take the Broadbrook Mill Site Remediation Committee.
Okay.
I apologize, Jason, I missed what she asked.
Marie is going to do the Broadbrook Mill Site Committee.
I got you. That's good.
Yeah, that's where things get a little dicey, is overbooking. or double booking.
Yeah.
I'll do Veterans Commission.
Okay.
Take the, building commission.
All right, Marie's going to do building. We're doing good, guys. So because this is a rather extensive list, if we do find that folks are double booked on evenings, we can revisit it down the road. So we don't need to necessarily get the whole 3-page spreadsheet squared away now, but if we could just get names attached to things, that's a good start.
I just want to double check, make sure. I didn't
Anybody interested in AHRC?
It's the same night as the meeting, as these meetings for selectmen, so they'll be hard for them to show up.
So we'll park down. How about the beautification committee?
I was looking at that, but I'm already booked on that.
Yeah, same night as Board of Health.
It's the same night as
Kind of
police.
take it sort of, just because my daughter-in-law is on the commission, so if I can't actually make it, she could give me an update.
That works?
On beautification.
Oh. I mean, unless you want
I can't, I'm booked on that.
Yeah, you're gonna need to put these in your calendar, man.
Yeah, you can change there. There she is, I was looking for you.
Um,
it. Yeah, if you want it, that's totally fine.
How about elderly commission?
Okay. I don't know when they meet, but I think they meet during the day.
I think they do, and I think they only meet every other month for, I think, 8 months a year.
They don't meet during the winter.
5 meetings, Jason.
Is it 5?
Yep. February, April, and September.
Historic Preservation Commission? Who has the mill one? Because that would be a good complement to that.
Okay.
Retirement.
Retirement.
Wow, there's a whole, you guys should see this list because it's Marie for like 7 Bs in a row.
Yeah. I see it.
I think the only 2 we have left are, I believe, is WPCA and Zoning Board of Appeals.
We have coffee.
That's not ZBA.
No.
Can we pen that, because I don't know if I've got a conflict, because I didn't write down what days are meeting.
Okay. Do we want to park ZBA for now too, and folks can check?
Yeah, I mean,
I can do that,
You can.
yes.
All right.
ZBA.
Actually, no, I can't, sorry. It's the same night as Warehouse Point,
Yeah,
sorry.
it is. That's fine.
Zoning Board of Appeals, just what you're talking about?
Yeah.
The first Monday?
That could see, if some of the development projects that are on the horizon come to fruition, that could see some really interesting discussion.
Okay. I don't have a conflict.
You want that one too?
Sure.
Is Carl still here?
He
ran when
Maria's taking ZBA. Okay, that is most of these. We'll update this list and get it back to Selectmen at our next meeting. If at any point people want to change these up, this isn't anything that's locked in stone, which I like that folks have been pretty cooperative in terms of assigning these, so I'm sure we can figure it out as we go. So,
If somebody wants to test the waters, WPCA's meeting tomorrow night at 7 o'clock.
noted.
Just in case they want to stop in and just see what it's about.
So the only other thing on our agenda is a pro forma thing that the Board of Selectmen does every meeting, and that is approving a list of tax refunds that the town owes to folks who we've over-collected from. There's always typically a list in your packet that has who is being paid, what the overage is, and a total of the backside. So if there are no questions, I'd ask for an approval of the tax refunds.
I'll move to approve the tax refunds totaling $7,156.71.
Motion has been made by Ms. Muska, seconded by Mr. Baker. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Right.
Our last item is adjournment, which is a non-debatable motion, but before we do that, there will be a need for a special meeting of the Board of Selectmen to talk about a tax abatement issue, either Monday or Tuesday of next week. Is there a date that works better for members?
Monday?
Monday? Monday? Sure. Okay. We'll meet at 7 o'clock on Monday, I'm assuming in this room, but I need to check availability. So an agenda will be coming out in the next day or so.
The RTC meets on Monday here at 7, but I think they could probably change a time or location.
Almost all of our special meeting will be an executive session, so I'll look I'll look to not displace the RTC,
Okay.
but I'll keep that in mind if I get jammed up. Most of what we're going to talk about is any session item.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that open to the public?
Executive session is not, no. There will be a vote, and that vote will be public. So wherever we meet, we'll allow the public in for that portion of it, but the discussion will be, it's a negotiation and it's a protected practice under the Freedom of Information Act. So, would somebody like to make a motion to adjourn?
I'll move that we adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's a non-debatable motion. All in favor of adjournment, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed,